Welcome to African Media Australia. I'm Claude Sharadi. Today we're talking about gambling, problem gambling, some call it, but also the harm that gambling causes on people's lives. And we know this is an issue that is quite prevalent in Australia right now. It affects many communities, including multicultural communities and the youth especially. So to talk about this, I have with me today Josh Peary, who's from Gamblers Help. Josh, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you, Clyde.
Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself and the organization you work for.
Oh, yes, so my name is Josh, and I work for IPC Health as a therapeutic counselor.
Well, what can you tell us about gambling and the harm that it causes to young people's lives?
Okay, so gambling. Gambling is simply, betting on some random chance to win. All right, in most basic terms, that's how I'd define that or explain that to somebody to really understand what we're talking about here. Yeah.
And how is it affecting people's lives?
It is an addiction. It can become an addiction, just like alcohol and drugs. It can become an addiction, and people lose control and continue betting until they lose all their money, and then that now bring other issues like stress, anxiety, because basically lost all their money.
And based on what you know, what are some of the key factors that are leading young people into these issues about gambling?
Well, there's a whole range of things, factors that could lead the younger men and women to gambling. So mostly for the young people, I would say is peer influence. And also, I want to realize that, and also some young people coming from backgrounds where their parents are gambling and maybe their mothers are gambling, that could sort of normalize things for them, and that could also influence it.
All right, and once somebody has realized that they have an issue with gambling and it is hurting them, it is creating issues in their lives, what steps should they take to in order to address that?
Yes, so for the young men and women, when they realize that they have a gambling issue, I would say is to, look around if there's somebody they can trust, all right? So this could be a parent, maybe a dad or mom, or can be a brother, or at school, maybe your teacher. You could talk to your teacher if you find yourself betting more than losing more money than you could, afford. Also, you could talk to, if you're coming from a religious background, you could talk to, the clergies, basically the priest, the pastors, or whatever you call your religious leaders. You could approach them and discuss about this issue.
All right, and I suppose there are helplines that also provide assistance. Tell us a bit about what you guys specifically do in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. So the generic helpline were available for everybody, all age groups, that can be accessed if you have this, gambling harm going on for you. So you could call 1800 858 858. But as we have discussed here, for the younger ones, it will be good to start, chatting with somebody they trust, and then pick it from there. Yeah.
All right. Do you know of anything that is specific to young people from multicultural backgrounds, as opposed to the youth in general, in relation to this gambling issue?
Well, talking about multicultural communities, for example, the African community, well, a lot of the younger ones have really assimilated well to the Australian culture. So I'd imagine the same factors that are leading the general, community into gambling would be the same reasons that would lead into gambling. But the only subtle differences probably I would observe and want to talk about is the accessing help. All right, so young men from specifically African background may not readily access the help that is available. All right, and that's all because of the stigma attached to the services that are out there. For example, counseling can be seen as something not really a good thing to do. In some multicultural community, that could be seen as a service for people that have the crazy.
Yeah,
All
problem
right.
somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. So really, counseling in its simplest term is to have a chat to somebody about an issue that you're struggling with, and developing strategies. So for the young people, I would encourage you to access these sort of services, to have a chat about the harm that is being caused by gambling.
Well, I suppose what you're saying is people shouldn't hesitate to consult a specialist, a counselor, or get access to counseling.
And also, just to add on that, if you go back, like in Africa, all right, the ideology of counseling does exist. You talk about in a village setup, people going to see an elder, to discuss issues. That's basically what it is. So it has nothing to do with you being crazy. It's just you finding somebody to have a chat about issues that you're struggling with.
Absolutely. Now, do you see any link between the Australian sport culture and gambling? We know that Melbourne here, where we are, is a sports capital. Some say sports capital of the world. I'm not sure about that, but there's a lot of sport in Melbourne, and young people grow up with a lot of technology and online access, and if you put this together, you start getting quite a terrible mixture of fun that can become a problem.
Oh yes, look, yeah, I totally agree that there is a link. All right, so as you have stated, Melbourne priding itself as an events city, and a lot of those events are sports events, right? And the link would be really, they have made sports available on your phone, on your computer, on your TV, and there's betting that's comes along with it. So in as much as a lot of people would sit down and enjoy sports, they have introduced betting, bet, and so there is a link in the sense that the more you watch sports, the more there's that there's adverts being thrown on you on TV talking about gambling. There's applications, a lot of applications that young men and women, they're downloading on their phones to bet in relation to the sports they enjoy. Yeah.
And you just talked about application here, and this campaign is the message really is about deleting the app, because once you that you download that app on your phone, yes, you get access to gambling, but that's also bringing issues possibly if you can't control yourself, and as simple as removing that app from the phone, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So in this campaign specifically, we want the younger ones to delete the app. If you know anybody out there, you're watching us today, please, we urging you to look out for your friends and ask them to delete the app, especially if it's having, effects, interfering in their way of life, and they're betting more and losing more money. Yeah.
All right, and I suppose gambling also affects more than just the person playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like where I work, at IPC Health, we do provide counseling for people with gambling harm, and also the affected others. So this could be a brother, a sister, or a dad, or a mom who is gambling, and it's affecting you as a young man, young woman. So we do provide services to support you.
What would be your last message to the young people out there who are watching us and who maybe want to take some steps to address the issues they're having with gambling?
Thank you for spending the time to listen to this wonderful discussion here about gambling. My last message for you is delete the app. Thank you.
All right, so it's all about deleting the app. Gambling can be fun, but a lot of times it ends up really being harmful. So if that is your case, or a case of someone please take some action. And this is all about empowering people to address issues they experience with gambling. So Josh, I want to say thank you for your time to Africa Media Australia. This is something that we'll continue to talk about. So hopefully we'll get another opportunity or two to talk about this.
Thank you.
All right.
for having me.
Okay, that's all, folks. Thank you very much. We really encourage you to like, comment, and share the video. You know, gambling is becoming an issue in the community, and it's important to try to do whatever we can to minimize this. So maybe tag your friend, you know, put some comments, and we want to get the feedback. It's important, especially for the people who are involved in this campaign. It's important, especially for the people who are involved in this campaign, to know that people are reacting to this, and any amount of information you can provide in comment will help. Until next time, stay blessed and keep watching Africa Media Australia. Thank you.